reacting to gorilla tag videos. As you guys can see on the top left, I think it is. Wait, yeah, let me see real quick. Okay, so I'm gonna have we're gonna be watching videos, gorilla tag videos, and like reacting to. You can see my subscribers in the top left, so if you press that, they should go up. It should go up. I don't know if it'll update. Okay, let's watch this one.
Face it, you don't sound like a veteran space race.
How do you say that? I'm gonna plug my thing in real quick, and then.
Face it, you don't sound like a veteran.
Okay, I put chat on my thing so I can see the chat while I'm in the middle of this. And then
brush over here and just start skating. We all know and love Gorilla Tag for being a VR game, but what if it was a cartoon instead? How would We all know and love Gorilla Tag for being a VR game, but what if it was a cartoon instead? How would the player model look? What about the maps and cosmetics? Well, in this video, I'm going to turn everything from Gorilla Tag into a cartoon, starting with the player model. And to make it into a cartoon, I'm gonna go ahead and grab the brush over here and just start sketching out the monkey. But before I go ahead and draw it, what I have to do is go up to the symmetry over here, click it, select the vertical one, then just put it in the middle like this. And now every single thing I'm gonna draw is gonna be symmetrical, meaning that it's gonna look way nicer. And I'm gonna go ahead and draw the head first. That's a goofy looking head. I'm just gonna go ahead and draw the circle like this, make it nice and smooth. There we go, that's a perfect circle. But I'm not really satisfied with the bottom row of the head. I'm just gonna erase it and redraw it. There we go, this already looks way better, but I just have to fix up the edge
so far, I like what he's doing.
just a little bit. And there we go, I should be done with the head form now. And so the next thing I could do is add the torso, which is going to be really simple. All I have to do is just draw the chest for like so.
Sorry if this is a little laggy.
So that looks pretty nice. And now I can prepare for the armpit down here. So I'm just gonna add this little subtle edge right here. Speaking of arm, let's go ahead and make it. There we go. That looks really nice. But again, we're not done at all. The next thing I have to do is just make the face. And it's more simple than you actually think. Because all I have to do is draw the face shape like so. Make sure to get the edges right up there. Smoothen it down a bit and move it back in. And there we go. We now have a goofy looking gorilla. But trust me, it's gonna look way better later on. So keep watching. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and draw the mouth and make the nose right up here, because that's where the Gorilla Tag nose is placed. And now for the actual eye, I'm gonna make a new layer just so I can mess around with it later on. But to start making the eye, what I usually do is make the brush a bit tinier and just start forming out the eyes, kind of just like that. And that does look pretty decent. And now what I do after that is make my brush bigger, make a new layer again, and then draw a black circle in here. And there we... oh no, that looks sad. And I feel like that looks pretty good. And so the next thing I'm gonna do is grab a white color up here, turn off symmetry, and then draw these white dots over here. Already looks way better than before. But one thing I did note,
That looks so much different. He's done so much stuff for her, so that's unpleasant.
this is that the eyes look a bit goofy down here, so I might have to redraw them, but it shouldn't take that long. Draw the eyes back down like this, and make sure to make it look good this time. Actually, it's not that bad, just scrap that. And I gave him ears just for fun, because I feel like I would add on to the cartoon look that we're going for. And with that, I'm finally done with the base of the sketch, and now it's time to color everything, which isn't actually that hard. And for this gorilla, I'm gonna make him red. So I'm gonna make a layer under the outlines that I've drawn, and then I'm just gonna start by filling everything out. It's nice and subtle like that. And as you can see, I'm finally done coloring everything red. And now I just have to color out the parts that are gray.
Hey, it's the color of my Grillo.
Nice and round like that. Loop it around in a circle until I'm done with it. And there we go. Now the torso is colored. And now I just have to do with the face and the ears. And then there we go. I'm finally done with it. So now to really make it look like a cartoon, what I have to do is shade it and really make it have that cartoon look. So the first way I'm gonna do this is by making a new layer and get a darker shade of red and just start shading the red. Could actually make the shadow a bit more wide because I feel like it needed a little bit more. And there we go. That looks pretty nice. And now I have to draw the shadows under his head, nice and smooth like that. And I also feel like I could shade under his face.
We will be making thumbnails later on.
Also to give it more personality. Also a little bit up here. Nice, nice. Looks pretty good. And I feel like that's pretty much done with most of the shadows. And now what I'm gonna do is grab a darker tone of red and then lower the opacity of the layer, just kind of mess around with it, and it really gives off to the cartoony look that we were going for. And since I'm pretty much done with the shadows of the red color, I'm gonna go ahead and do the highlights. And to start it off, I'm gonna make a new layer and just grab a lighter tone of red and start shading the outlines like this. Also a bit more on the head as well, just like that. Now I'm gonna grab an even lighter color of red, make a new layer again, and really start making these highlights go crazy. Now I'm gonna grab a big brush like this and just give the character a really big highlight, and you'll see why in a bit. Just gonna erase the parts that I don't need of it, and now I'm gonna lower the opacity of it again, and it's gonna give us this really cool highlight looking effect. But now we're not done at all yet actually. One more thing I have to do for the highlight is make a plain white brush and make a new layer again and just start shading a tiny bit of the edges, and it's gonna give us this really cool highlight effect that's really often used in cartoons. There we go. But if you couldn't tell already, there's something missing, and that is to shade the torso and face, which should actually be way easier. There we go. I could also shade under the eyes a bit like that, also the mouth and the nose as well, also a bit on the ears, also a tiny bit on the edges of the face. There we go. And now I'm gonna grab a darker tone of gray and make a new layer again and really fill out some areas that need shadow. Alright, there we go. Nice. Now the last thing we have to do for the chest fur and face is give it highlights. Just gonna draw a subtle highlight like this, and also on the face a little bit, just to give it that nice effect that we're going for. Nice. There we go. That looks really awesome. And now I just gotta do it on the ears, and now we're basically done. What I'm gonna do now is make a brand new layer and make it completely gray, and now mask it to the red fur so it only affects that. And now I'm gonna change the blend mode over here from normal to overlay and just start shading it like this. And now I could do the exact same thing for the torso and face. And now I'm finally done with it, but I feel like there's one more thing we can add to it, which is cosmetics. And for this cosmetic, I'm gonna make the face mask and the tree badge. So I'm gonna start off by getting a white brush and then draw out the rubber from the face mask. And now I'm gonna grab a black brush and start forming out the face mask. There we go. And now I'm gonna grab a blue color like this and just start painting the face mask. There we go. This looks awesome. So let's go ahead and make the tree badge. And there we go. And remember, this is only level 1, and level 3 might be the craziest one yet, so make sure to stick around to see that. The map that I'm gonna recreate today is actually the forest map because it's the most iconic one in the game. And what's the most iconic thing in forest is stump, because that's when you spawn when you join the game. So my idea is we get some grass right here like that, and we get stump right here like so. That's the base of the model. So now what I'm gonna do is add the big branch over here. Now let's do the small branch over here. The next thing I could add to the stump is a ramp. I'm gonna draw a ramp like this. Just make sure it goes out here. Then I'm gonna make another one go up here and there. Now we're gonna have to enter the stump right there. There we go. And an additional thing we could add is the ramps over here. So I'm just gonna make a slight little ramp over here that goes up, and then have the foot down here that's gonna support it. So now it's time to color everything. So I'm gonna grab a soft brown color over here, make a new layer, and just start filling in the colors. And just like that, we have the whole stump color. But we of course need a little bit of shading on it, because otherwise it wouldn't look like a cartoon. So I'm gonna grab a darker color of brown, make a new layer, just start shading it.
Are you a Roblox fanatic? Microsoft Rewards has a brand new way for you to earn digital gift.
I'm also gonna add a bit of shading to the ramp. Nice, looks pretty good. And now I could add an even darker color of brown and shade just the slight edges of the
Sorry if this is laggy. So he's now making stump.
shadow. I could do the same thing on this ramp down here. Nice, nice, looks pretty good so far. And lastly, I'm gonna shade it a little bit on this branch, and then we're pretty much done with the shadow.
No.
But I feel like we could add a little extra one right here because it's a bigger shadow, and that should be good for that. But now let's go ahead and do the highlights, which I'm gonna grab a lighter tone of brown for and just start shading it. And if you haven't noticed already, the lighter source is coming from over here, so I'm gonna have a massive highlight coming from this side just to make it really look realistic, but also still looking like the cartoon style that we're going for. Now I'm gonna add a little bit of it on the ramp as well, just like that. Now I'm of course not gonna forget this branch up here, and now I'm gonna make a new layer again and grab a really light brown, and now I'm just gonna shade this brown on the edges of the highlight, and I'm also gonna do it on the staircase right here, just like that. I forgot to add like the actual wood pieces on it, and to achieve this effect, I'm gonna grab a really dark brown, just draw it like this, and now I'm gonna go ahead and give it some details like these small little spikes right here, just to give it some more depth. And just like that, I'm basically done with it, but it does look a little bit odd right now. And simply I'm gonna fix it by lowering the fill over here, and now it already feels a little more natural, and that should be done for the stump, which I'm not gonna lie, looks really cool. So now we could go ahead and color the ramp over here. Just gonna have more of an orange color. There we go. And now I'm just gonna go ahead and shade it a bit, and I'll see you when I'm back. Little does my viewers know, I'm just gonna go eat. Now I'm gonna go ahead and color the grass. And since it's a cartoon, I'm gonna make the grass really vibrant, just because that's usually what kids love. And now I'm gonna go ahead and shade the grass. And for the grass, I don't really have to do anything crazy, because we're just trying to keep it simple. And now I'm gonna go ahead and do the highlights, and then we should be done with this grass. There we go. And I'm now officially done with the grass. And now for the last thing we have to do with level 2 is add the rock wall in the background. And to do that, I'm gonna grab this highlight color I used for the stump, and then make the color a little bit lighter up here, and just fill out the entire thing. And now I'm just gonna go ahead and foam out the rocks, and then that should be good. There we go, but it doesn't really look that good right now. But to make it look good, I'm gonna double click the rocks, add a bevel to it, and I'm gonna make a new layer, grab a dark shade of brown, and just start shading it like this. It's not gonna look good at first, but trust me, it will later on. There we go, and I'm now done with the forest. So let's go ahead and move to level 3, which is the best one yet. And for the third and final level of the cartoon, what I'm gonna do is make a logo for it. And trust me, this is gonna look insane. So what I'm gonna do is make it a wooden sign with lava coming out of it. So to start off, I'm gonna draw a line like so, extend it out, pull it up, then pull it back slightly. I'm just gonna keep repeating that. Wow, I really messed it up. Okay, let me just go ahead and redo that. So I'm gonna draw a straight line like this. There we go. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and draw the actual planks on it. And yes, this is looking perfect so far. And now I'm gonna make a new layer, and instead of having it all be a wooden plank, I'm now gonna draw the lava pumping out of it. And trust me, this is gonna look insane at the end. So I'm gonna start off by making the lava drip right here. There we go. Make it nice and wobbly like that. There we go. That looks awesome. But I do have to fix this little edge right here. There we go. I could also add one up here. Gonna make it extend out of the wooden plank like so. There we go. That looks so cool. And there we go. We now have the second lava drop done. Now I'm gonna make these small little magma thingies like so. This looks so cool so far. I can't even lie, bro. And now the last thing we have to do is make a new layer and draw in the gorilla tag text. And now what I'm gonna do is grab the text tool over here and then search up marshmallow, which gives us this cool marshmallow looking text, which is really good for the cartoon style that we're going for. So now I'm gonna type in gorilla and rotate it slightly like that, and I'm gonna make a new text and call it tag, and just make the tag really big right here. The base of it is now done, so the last thing we have to do is color it. We'll make a new layer and get a dark tone of brown and just start filling in the color of the wood. And also, if you made it this far into the video, at 100k subscribers, I'm gonna be giving away 100,000 shiny rocks. So make sure to join my Discord, because I'm gonna be doing the giveaway in there. And subscribe if you're enjoying these types of videos. There we go. And let's go ahead and shade this thing. So I'm gonna get a darker tone of brown, just make it go roundly down like this. Nice. Just fill in the blank spots. Give it a big shadow right here, tiny little shadow right here, and that should mostly be done with the shadows, but we're actually not done, because if you couldn't tell, there's missing planks throughout the entire thing. So I'm gonna be able to make those just to give it some variety, just like that. And keep in mind, I'm not the best at drawing, so if you have any tips, make sure to comment it down below. Anyways, let's make a new layer again and get an even darker tone of gray. So now I'm just gonna color the darker parts even more dark, so you really give it this cool shadow effect. And look, it's already starting to make it look way better. And now it's time to do it for the right side. There we go. It looks so nice. Also make a shadow under this thing right here. I don't feel like I should make it fully like that, so I'm gonna make these small little cracks in it. And I'm also gonna do it throughout the entire thing. Nice. With a big shadow right here, because it has a big shadow already. And now for the final shadow I'm gonna have to do is make a a new layer, get a really dark shadow, and just start shading it over like this. Because when I lower the opacity of it, look at that amazing effect it gives. And now it's finally time to do the highlights. So now I'm gonna get a lighter tone of brown, and look, I'm not gonna do anything crazy. I'm just gonna shade the edges like this. Awesome. Get rid of that tiny one as well right here, another one right there, and there we go. That's the first second layer done of the highlights. So now let's move on to the really light tone of brown. Make a brand new layer again, and just start shading it like this, and lower the opacity of it, and that really gives it this cool looking effect. So now we basically have the wooden plank done. So the last thing I have to do is call out the lava drops, and there we go. But it doesn't look that great right now, so I'm gonna double click the layer, and then this is gonna pop up. So now I'm gonna click bevel and emboss, and just put the opacity up on both. I'm gonna give it a drop shadow as well. There we go. And now the last thing we have to do for this logo is make the text blend into the wooden sign. So I'm gonna double click the layer, change the color of it, make it a really dark orange, and make a drop shadow on it. And then I'm gonna go to blending options right here and put the opacity down, which makes it look like it's blended into the wood, which is exactly what we were looking for. And I'm just gonna click the effects right here, and then drag it onto the gorilla text, and there we go. And make sure to comment down below what your favorite part of this video was, and subscribe.
Good job. Great video.
This may be the last ad you ever see. Because with the free ad block extension from Capital One Shopping, you can say goodbye